Hi, I'm Kipp Tribble, actor, director, writer of Char Man, and you're listening to We Found a Tape.
Hello, found footage fans, and welcome to We Found a Tape. We're a podcast dedicated to all things found footage. Shaky cams, paranormal sightings, and everything with an authentic edge to make it all feel real. My name's John,
And I'm David.
and join us as we hit play and uncover what lies beyond the tape. Welcome everyone to another episode of We Found a Tape. Today we're going to be checking out one of favourite of mine. I enjoy watching this movie quite a bit. It's from 2019 and it's a found footage horror comedy called Char Man.
Yeah, Char Man.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know what to expect with this one because you had seen it before I did. So, being that it was a horror comedy, I had to kind of check it out because people were going to say stupid shit, and in the actual movie and things like that. So, I definitely had to check it out. Very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It was one that I definitely found randomly on Tubi. Like I do with a lot of my found footage movies. I find a lot of them on Tubi, man.
Tubi's like a nice little treasure trove of random things to find, and it doesn't like advertise them like like big movies that pass through there, like Queen of the Damned or something like that. It's just something you got to search for, and you're just like looking at a certain movie, and then you get like suggestions of other movies, and it's just it's just random shit you find on there.
Yeah, it's like a little treasure chest full of random B-list movies. It's not even just horror movies, man. There's B-list all the way to Z-list of everything.
Yeah. There's everything, a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah, and it's the jungle juice of streaming services, I would say.
Jungle juice.
Yeah, I would say that.
That's a good comparison there. Yeah, I like
yeah,
that.
I found this probably about a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. I came across Char Man randomly. I was going through a real phase of just picking random shit to watch. Some of them was fantastic, some of it was just pure garbage. But I came across this one. I was pleasantly surprised when I first saw it. I found it quite funny, and I think I kind of understood where it was going. It was a fun time. I liked the dynamic between the cast. It felt like a bunch of guys who were just talking some shit and doing some shit.
Yeah.
You
This movie was like a roller coaster in the sense that at times it was hilarious, at times it was annoying, and then it goes back to being funny, and then it just gets crazy.
Some stuff like at the beginning when they're just sort of just talking to each other and riffing on each other and having a laugh and all that. Like it definitely feels like you're seeing footage, right? It doesn't feel like a movie per se. It does feel like
Right.
it is sort of footage, which lends itself to this genre so well.
Right. And I think that, with this movie being a comedy, it definitely hits the funnies in some parts. Um, it's that combo of a friend that, one's an asshole and one's kind of more like I don't know if I want to say conservative, but he's just more movie focused, and the other one is just trying to make a joke out of every single thing and just annoying you the entire way through. So interesting dynamic between the two.
Yeah, for sure. It is prominent throughout the whole thing. You can tell there's someone try to press someone's buttons for sure.
Yeah. That dude was just going in, man, full throttle.
Yeah, before we dive into this, why don't we have a brief synopsis about the Charman? So, Charman 2019 follows two friends documenting a local legend in Ojai, California, only to find themselves trapped in a real life nightmare from another local legend.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, Mark.
This movie's something else, man. But yeah, the synopsis hits it.
A lot of it was fun, like funny, and I think the main part of the main chunk of the movie is just the three of them. It's the two friends. I think the name's Sam and Eric. They have the cameraman who's following them around, and it's them basically making a fake documentary about some local legend, the Ojai vampire in California.
I kind of got a kick out of how, they started out saying that the vampire was going to be a certain way and they were going to add coffins and things like that when they didn't even have a clue about the entirety of the legend of the Ojai vampire. Like, they were just winging it. They were just making shit up as they went. And then, the annoying guy went and did some research and found the location where they were killed and buried or something like that. And it's now like an amphitheater and a tennis court. It's a full-on park and entertainment center. And he's the asshole friend is just throwing a shit fit because they can't film there because the road is paved and there's a tennis court where the vampire was buried and he's just throwing a good fit for a good minute, man. That it's this movie was just hilarious. I don't know, man. It was funny.
Yeah, it definitely blends that sort of found footage with comedy, like kind of like Project X does. Like that is one of the quintessential sort of found footage comedy movies.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a lot less polished than Project X, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Which you could probably see from the movie itself. A good majority of it, if not all of it, was filmed on smartphone devices. I did some research, and it looks like the film was notably shot using a Samsung Galaxy S8, an iPad Mini, and an iPhone 6S.
Dude, I had a Galaxy Samsung S8 before I went to the dark side and got an iPhone. That was my last phone.
And would you have shot a found footage movie on your Samsung Galaxy S8?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
The camera was decent quality.
Yeah, that's actually quite resourceful, especially if you've just got those sort of consumer grade things. Like, it's almost like it's whatever's lying around, you just sort of take it. I'm gonna take my daughter's iPad and my friend's iPhone 6. Let's make a movie.
Hello Kitty.
Exactly, with a little Hello Kitty phone case. That'd be funny.
That's funny. I like how this movie started out with like some before information about what's happening, and that they found this hard drive inside of a like an abandoned house or something like that, and then it says this movie has been edited for time.
Yeah, that's what kind of makes it feel like a little bit of a little bit more added realism.
Right.
For me, I think I like found footage movies that sort of they explain that almost ahead of time. Like it kind of keeps you into that, because at some point you'll forget you're watching a found footage movie and you'll think you're watching an actual movie in some cases, where it really should be the opposite. Like you're watching a movie, but it really does feel like found footage. And I think whenever there's parts of movies that explain that, I think that to me helps build the sort of world around it and makes it a bit more tangible and feels more realistic. And I think from that aspect, that's definitely a plus for me. The footage that they had was documented and put together in a way that didn't feel manufactured. It didn't feel like they were sort of making a film in that sense. But as it progresses, when they finally find out about the Char Man legend, like for me personally, I wish there was a fucking Char Man.
Why?
How sick would that have been, man?
I don't want to wake up at 2 a.m. smelling like dirty ass, inside my house because Char Man was there.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like the way that it's described, like when they meet the town historian and he's talking about like, oh, have you heard about the Char Man? He's like, why? I don't know why you're focusing on the Ojai vampire, man. You should really think about Char Man. And they gets them all excited, and they put all this kind of although it didn't seem like a lot of effort, they put all this effort into the Ojai vampire, then suddenly just pivot to this Char Man thing.
And I think what sold them more on pivoting there is that he goes into detail saying that supposedly the Charman lives around this bridge, and they were just at that bridge the day before where they were looking at location spots to do the coffins and all that nonsense, and they started talking about how the Ojai vampire was going to be like a toy maker, that would lure children. And they have the Richard, which is the clown toy of the guy. He says that him and his friend from back home, they mail it to each other every year as a joke. And the other guy, the one that's dumber than a box of rocks, grabs the clown and just chucks it off the bridge. And he's just trying to play into the movie without even rolling on the movie yet. There's no he's just throwing it just to throw it, and the other guy's telling him hey, you don't have to throw it, you can just pretend you're going to throw it and we'll cut it. And
Right.
So he goes down there and he goes to look for the Richard doll, and that thing is gone, man. It's just totally gone. So I think all that made them go towards Charman even more, because they just experienced Charman. They were over here looking for the Ojai vampire, and they just ran into Charman. So it's like, let's just go this way then.
From a cohesive sort of story point, like when you really think about it, there's a lot of different local legends and different urban legends that they're gonna cramming into this thing, and it's not long. I mean, it's an hour and 25 minutes, and it starts from this Ojai toy maker vampire to this like flesh stripped burnt man into this like town offering sacrifices to.
It totally like dominoed into a lot of different things here.
Yeah, that's where I got a bit confused.
And you're right, it threw me off a bit, because he told him the legend of Charman. They started going towards Charman and started looking into this more. The minute that that the guy told him about it, shit started happening at the house, right? Water turned on, nasty smells, things like that. And it just seemed more sense to go that way. And as the movie progresses and things are happening every night, they start reaching out to the townsfolk people. They talked to the one guy, it was the gardener. He started saying that there were different, depending on who you talk to, different legends, things like that. And then when shit started hitting the fan and they needed to get out and couldn't get out, they went into the town for help, and nobody would help them. It was suddenly like they were invisible. Like these people were not even acknowledging them. They tried to go into help to a yoga studio, and the guy just told them basically get the F out, and just, wouldn't even listen to them. You know what I mean? Nobody would listen to him.
Yeah, and then I guess I just meant they were namasteing there.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's some really good points in this. Like, I definitely enjoyed the camaraderie between all of them. Like, they definitely kind of felt like a bunch of guys just out, trying to do something. Like, they're really all kind of all in on it. I couldn't give past the fact that, and we said this before, that the guy, so his friend's Cameron, which is we refer to as Mac from Super Troopers.
He did look like
That
Mac, you're right.
mustache and the glasses.
Glasses.
You look like Mac. Then we have Eric and Andy. Andy's a cameraman. A lot of weird stuff starts happening to them, and there's a good amount of scares. Really, like there's the moment where they see the mask in the window. There's a few times where that happens when they see it in the footage when they're on their first night. They didn't pick up on it at the time, and then when the kid's like in the room, standing there, like some moments like that, like they were done very well and very impactful scares that I definitely enjoyed watching it. But then after that, it just kind of fell a little flat for me when it started getting towards the end. It was a bit of a slow crawl.
And that's what threw me off, was because everybody's talking about the legend of Char Man, but what was visiting them every night was kids with masks on. You could tell that they were short and childlike, features. So I mean, it was just so weird. I don't know if they were possessed by the spirit of Char Man. what was going on here, if they were just messing with them. But even at times, when they would come up to the kids when they confronted them, they got kind of like a demonic ghost voice, response out of them, and it was just very weird. And then, I would think nothing to do with Charman because you're looking for an actual man, not a little girl. So it's I don't know, it's just very weird. There was a lot of like different angles to this, and I was kind of like, which way do I go, left or right? Because it was kind of I don't know what's going on. Are these possessed people or just crazy people? The town is into like some kind of cult of Charman where they're trying to sacrifice these. I don't know. I'm so confused. And in a way, it makes the movie because there was so many angles of different things that were happening at one time. Like if it was just a town of crazy cult people that were, using a legend to, scare people or sacrifice people or things like that. Because there was even a point where Mac went in there and went on the internet to like boardrooms to research this a bit, and people were saying that they're looking for a sacrifice. And so, I mean, there was just a lot of different elements to this movie as far as what was really Charman.
But overall, I had a really fun time watching it.
Yeah, it was a good ride.
Yeah, it was a good ride. You're right. I tried to count how many times they said the word B-roll. I counted 11. I don't know if that is accurate or not.
The ride ain't over yet.
The ride ain't over yet. But yeah, I mean, in terms of rating this thing, I did put this in Letterboxd, and I would say it's a good 3 out of 5 tapes.
That's where my rating was at with it, because it kept me engaged through the movie, and the comedy in it, the style of the way they were shooting it, to where it was more like banter back and forth and actual movie making, and in the process everything was happening. So yeah, solid 3 for me as far as the movie goes. It kept me engaged and entertained, and if a movie can do that, they're gonna get a decent rating out of me. So 3.
Stick around and listen to our interview with Kipp Tribble, who's one of the creators and also plays Eric in Char Man. So enjoy.
Stay tuned for some B-roll.
We're going to need some B-roll. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us on We Found a Tape. We're honoured to be joined today by Kipp Tribble, the writer, director and actor of the movie Char Man. How are you doing today, Kipp?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Doing well.
Awesome.
Doing great. First, I want to say that I randomly came across Char Man probably about 2 years ago on Tubi TV, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made to randomly pick a film to watch. I I had such a great time watching this. The horror and the comedy, I thought, merged really, really well.
I appreciate it.
What was kind of the idea that made you want to go down this route of not only a found footage movie, but also the comedic route of a found footage movie as well?
Yeah, so my buddy Kurt and I, he's the other lead in the film, and co-directed the film with me. So he and I have been wanting to do a film for a really long time. We've known each other for about 20 years, and Kurt's done a lot of comedy, and so we were trying to find, the right film for us to kind of tackle from a comedic aspect, but we both love horror movies and want to do a horror film as well, and we actually weren't even talking about found footage at first, and I kind of had a film that was going to happen and then kind of went away, so I had a gap in my schedule, and was like, hey, why don't we make it happen? That was April 2018 is when we shot that. So we just started looking at, first of all, when you're doing a low budget film, how much money do you have? We didn't have a lot of money to throw into a film. So that's kind of where the found footage aspect came from for us, is because you can do them for nothing, And we also knew we had a very short time frame to get this done before I had to go away on another film soon after. And so we decided, instead of spending, a couple months writing a script, which we didn't have, we were going to improvise the whole thing. And so we wrote, it was about a 9-10 page outline. And, we had all the beats that we wanted to hit, and then we just improvised the whole thing. And we decided to go up to Ojai to shoot because Kurt's manager has some property up there. So we had free place to stay, free place to shoot, and Ojai's, only a couple hours from LA. So that's why we went up there. So then we just started researching Ojai and urban legends in Ojai, and obviously Char Man was the number one out of many. Actually, they had many urban legends up there, but it was the number one urban legend that kept popping up. And so we did some exploring, and the second one was the Ojai vampire, and we liked both of those equally, and so that's why we decided to kind of split and go looking for the vampire, and then we uncovered Char Man along the way. So that's kind of how the whole thing came together. It was improvising because we didn't have the time to write a script, and we wanted to do a horror film, but we also wanted to add a lot of comedy in there and do it for next to nothing. And so there we go.
No, that definitely comes across. My next question after would have been, was there considerable improv? Which
yes,
was the case.
Yeah, and there are parts in the film that just from the improvisation we started like rewriting the outline as we were going. For instance, when I was dumping footage after the first day onto a hard drive, and we decided, hey, we got footage here, let's implement that. And we're going back and watching footage in the film, and so that's where those came from. Just some of the elements that made it in just came from just a line that one of us would say, and then that would change a certain scene later on that we were going to do, or added a scene or something like that. So it was full on improv, and a lot of fun. I think we had 6-7 hours of footage that we cut it down to the under 90 minutes. Yeah.
Would you say that there's any movies out there that gave you inspiration for making Char Man?
I mean, it's everybody's going to say probably the same answer. Blair Witch obviously is an influence. We both were big fans of that. Paranormal Activity, so we we're influenced with elements from both of those a bit. I do watch a lot of found footage movies. I would say probably those were the two that we referenced the most when we were tackling this. I'd say so.
Yeah.
In some of the VHS series, some elements of those as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see some elements there. The outdoor stuff from Blair Witch, and paranormal things where this masked figure is just appearing out of nowhere and then just disappears, things like that. So yeah, I can definitely see it.
In terms of the filming aspect of it, how long did it take you guys to film?
2.5 days.
2.5 days?
Yes. So we just had the weekend. We went up on a Friday, and came back on a Sunday evening, and we just the longest shoot day we had, I think, was 4 hours. I mean, we were just burning through it, and we just kept cameras rolling, and that's how we were able to do it so fast. And we also were, we had our main camera, which was an iPad actually, and that was run by Nick, who you see him in the film as well. And then we also had our 2 phones, so we were able to get a lot of mileage, from those 3, and have a lot of footage.
Yeah, when we were doing research for the movie, it was a Samsung Galaxy S8, an iPhone 6s, and an iPad Mini. That's it. Yeah, I soon after that I switched over to I had the Samsung, and soon after switched over to iPhone and left my Android behind. But it worked out nicely. The only thing that you have to deal with when we're shooting on mobile devices is when you get into the edit, your dialogue sometimes can start to drift, your audio will start to drift some.
So that was the biggest headache in editing, having to go back and fix that over and over. But otherwise, I mean, it's super easy to, we didn't worry about the technical side of things. We just turned them on and went, and it looks rough for a reason, because we not only are we not professional cameramen or gaffers or anything either, but also the characters we're playing aren't professionals either. So we just decided, not to even worry about trying to make things look pretty, and let's just go out there and go for it.
No, it's great. It definitely comes across
awesome.
perfectly, which was mainly the main notes that we put down were just like it seems like a bunch of friends who really want to make something and they're just bullshitting their way through it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it sounds. So that's great. That's really great.
Yeah, and that's my 3 daughters are in the film too. Able to get them in there. So 2 of my daughters are wearing the mask, and then my other daughter is when we run into her on the sidewalk. You see us for a second running her on the sidewalk. So
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cheap labor as well.
100%. Yeah. Yes.
For the masks that you had, where did they come from? Were they just Halloween store masks?
Yes. Yeah. That I'm trying to think. I think I got all 3 of them at Halloween Town here in LA. And yeah, we just wanted to look for some creepy looking clown masks, and those were the ones we came across.
Nothing creeps you out more than a clown.
That's it. Yeah, seriously. And looking to see them. So funny little story. When you see them standing there in the window with the clown masks and stuff. I used to bartend years and years ago. And one night it was really slow, and look up, it's dark outside, and there's a clown just staring through the window, and stood there for like 15 minutes just staring and didn't move. It was so odd, and so that influenced us seeing them standing outside. Yeah, it was very, very strange. Full clown makeup, full gear, everything. Just stood there for like 15 minutes. Weird.
I wonder if this was around the time where, and I'm trying to think of the year it was. We actually had a year where you would hear in the media, random clown sightings in different places.
Yeah. Yes.
I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
It might have been, and there's also a found footage movie based on that.
Behind the Sightings.
Yes.
Yeah.
It might have been around that same time, but yeah, there was. I would always hear about it from my daughters, at school, and they would come show all these videos, and it was a big deal. Because they were all scared to death, and thinking that there was killer clowns and all that kind of stuff, but it was just random people dressing up as clowns, and I don't know, it's strange.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Speaking of clowns, we obviously see Richard the clown.
Yes,
who was prominent in the movie.
Yes.
Does Richard have an origin, or was this?
Actually. So when I was about 10 years old, I was in a youth group at the church my parents were taking us to, and it was just me and this other guy, and we found this clown doll, which isn't the one that you see in the film, but we found this clown doll, and we named it Richard, and we would like hide it in people's backpacks, and just hide it in just random place. It was just a stupid running joke for like a year, and I'd gotten married, and I mean, it was probably 20 years later. I get this package in the mail, and he mailed it to me. He somehow kept it, or found it. I don't know what he did, but he mailed it to me, and it was just this running joke, and so that's just wanted to put Richard in there as well.
Wow. That's very cool. He's got an origin story. Nice.
Yeah. Not super scary origin story, but it's a silly one. But yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
One thing in the film with Richard, the story of it is that it's like a gift that, or an item that's passed around friends that you went to high school with or college with or something like that in the movie, which is quite funny because we resonate with that a bit because we have a pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern plug-in pumpkin, and we have like a group of friends, and we usually get together and we usually bring the pumpkin, and then someone takes the pumpkin.
Someone would take it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We found it at a thrift store in Michigan, and
Nice.
we basically take it around. It's been in Canada, it's been in Texas, it's been in Virginia, it's been everywhere.
That's awesome. That's funny.
He's done more traveling than us for sure.
That's great.
Were there any like maybe footage that you maybe want to add it into the movie, or footage that was left out of the movie that maybe you thought twice, wanting to add it into, maybe the context or just add on to it?
Yeah, I don't have any like specific ones, but there were, I would say there were some scenes that would basically they would go longer. They'd be longer versions of the scene. So
Okay.
Or they would be a scene that would explain a little bit more detail about another one. But then in the end, we decided the ones that we cut. We were trying to get it to a nice tight length, and we decided that some stuff we could leave up for interpretation. There was some stuff that we cut that explained a little bit more about people that you see in the clowns. But we decided to, again, kind of leave that up for interpretation and just leave the little bit that we did about them in there. But yeah, I would say more than anything is just, it was kind of redundant stuff that we were just cutting. That's what we felt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Was there ever consideration to make some form of Char Man type creature to be in the movie, or was it always, we're going to get?
We discussed it briefly, and then decided just to do our own thing. And there's actually several different stories behind the real Char Man, and they're the conflicting stories. And so we almost went with one of them, and then be like, well, some people always tell this story how Char Man came about, and another group of people in Ojai tell this story, and then there's a third story that people tell. So we just kind of decided to do our own thing.
I guess in a way, just adding to the lore of Char Man, just putting your own spin to it. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. We have been asked about doing a sequel. We're knocking around the idea, and we'll probably tackle it at some point. And we were, for a while, we had a deal over at Warner Brothers for the TV series, and then COVID came around and kind of shot all that down. But that came from Kurt had done a guest spot on a TV series, and the creator of that show, huge found footage fan, and watched it, and that's how we got over there. So.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, but Char Man may live on here pretty soon. We're discussing it.
Brilliant.
That'd be very interesting to see a sequel out of that.
Yeah.
I would even be stoked to see a TV series.
Yeah, it was the TV series. It was the same thing. It was going to be comedy, horror comedy, and it was going to basically expand the film crew. So it's going to be about 5 or 6 people instead of just a couple guys. But yeah, it would have been fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that'd be an interesting thing to see for sure in the future.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing a Paranormal Outlaws, either TV show or movie? If they played the Andy's character.
No, I have not really ever considered doing that. But we had a lot of fun coming up with that show, and the fake show in the movie, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs coming up with that. But I'd watch it if somebody made it.
Absolutely.
Right.
That story about the light coming on, the call box, that is a true story. It's no longer a hospital anymore, but there was an abandoned hospital downtown LA, and they would always shoot a bunch of movies in there. They had standing sets and stuff, but there was no power in the building, so you would have to bring in your own generator and stuff. And I was walking through there one time with a gaffer friend of mine. We were scouting the location, and the guy who was basically oversaw the building was telling them that there's this one light that will come on the call box, and he opens it up, and there's just the wires are ripped out and everything. There's no power, but it would come on, just
Wow.
randomly come on. Yeah. So
Very creepy.
that's how that got in there. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Exactly.
Did you, aside from the audio editing becoming a challenge, at the end of the movie, when you're editing and doing final touches and everything, were there any other major challenges like shooting at night or anything in just a short period of time?
Yeah, there was a dog that would not shut up. We were out there at night, and I had to go in. You can hear it a couple times, but I had to go in and paint out the bark, an audio program.
Mm-hmm.
We were pretty lucky at night, because in addition to having some flashlights and stuff, the exterior lights there were pretty good. So we didn't have much of a problem there. It was mostly audio that kind of got us, because there's gravel everywhere, and
Right.
that just dominates on the microphone. Yeah, the dog barking that would not shut up, and otherwise, no, we didn't have any issues. Shooting in the town was a little bit tricky because we didn't get release. We weren't getting releases from everybody. We didn't want to have to explain what we're doing, get releases, and shoot people. So we were, had to kind of shoot around crowds when we were in town. And then we got releases on some people that we were able to feature. But that was what made it a little tricky. And then the white balance and stuff on the cameras. I mean, the cameras now are incredible, but we're going back 6-7 years ago. So that was a little difficult sometimes, where it would be blown out a bit. But otherwise, no, it was mainly audio stuff that was an issue.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I can see the working around the crowds and stuff like that can be a bit tricky too, because if you can't get a release from everybody, you kind of gotta find a different angle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that.
Yeah, and it's done well in terms of that, because the filming that's done in the town, you'll see the characters stand there, and then you come along and say I tried to ask a yoga instructor, he's told me to fuck off.
Right.
Stuff like that helps move the story along, because you see no one, but it's into the story. It's people don't want to talk, they don't want to speak to you, so it almost adds to that, which is perfect.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I'd forgotten about that line.
Yeah, there's so many. I guess we're namasteing here. It's another one right after.
Yeah, so good.
And one of the main things that we laugh at, and me especially, every single time I watch it, I lost count how many times I've seen it now, but Kurt throughout the whole movie just reminds us of Mac from Super Troopers. I don't know if you've ever had that comparison before, but it's the mustache and the glasses.
Yes, yes. I think he's gotten that before. Yes, 100%.
But that was the main thing. I've been telling David to watch this for a couple of months now, and we were getting really excited to talk about it. So the first thing that he said, he's like, "This guy looks like Mac from Super Troopers."
He totally does.
Yeah,
totally does. Oh, that's awesome.
I really enjoyed his character. I mean, it started out, cracking jokes, and then at a bit of times throughout the movie, the character of Kurt, the one that he played, became a bit annoying because he became very dramatic in certain scenes and things like that. then it would go back to funny. So it was kind of like back and forth and back and
Yeah.
forth. It was a really good character. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. He did a great job. It's awesome.
When you're down at the bridge, when he's throwing Richard again, this time more forcefully, and you're visibly mad. That's another scene that I particularly liked as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun down there. You know, it's crazy because when we were shooting on the bridge, and that is the actual bridge, I guess, that Char Man supposedly comes out at. There was a documentary crew that came on the other side of the bridge and were recording. They were shooting a documentary about Char Man for their YouTube channel.
Wow.
At the same time we were there. And we did get releases from them, and we shot a scene with them, but it just didn't fit in the movie. It didn't make sense, all the stuff that we were going to add with them. But anyway, yeah, it was an interesting coincidence.
What are the chances?
Mm-hmm. And speaking of San Antonio, I just saw this one too. This lady reached out to me. She lives in San Antonio, but her mom's from Ojai, and she went to Ojai to visit after she saw Char Man and went and recorded a bunch of stuff for social media about it. But she lives in San Antonio.
Wow.
Anyway,
Interesting.
anyway, a lot of these little coincidences that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you're saying San Antonio, San Antonio's got its own, history of, urban legends too and things like that. Anything from, Donkey Lady Bridge to the haunted ghost tracks and things like that. So it's pretty cool that, just about any town or major city that you visit, they've got their own backstory.
Yeah.
Whether it's a cryptid or a ghost or a haunted place, things like that. So it's real interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, every town's got them. Every town's got them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And there's books about it here in Ontario as well. There's so many. We've got a few books about different ghost stories and urban legends. So
that's great.
They're everywhere. In Scotland as well. I'm from Scotland originally, if you can't tell.
Yeah, totally good.
there's a lot there. Obviously, the most famous
I
is the
imagine,
Loch Ness Monster. So,
oh yeah, of course.
We're prone to cryptids as well.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm sporting a Mythical Pizza, which is a pizza place in West Virginia, which is known for Mothman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
another one where another place that's prone to cryptids and.
Oh yeah, I love Mothman Prophecy, the movie, the Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It was a very eerie movie when it came out. I was probably like in my early 20s when that came out. Such a good movie. It was just eerie all the way around, from the music, the intensity, the dark moments, things like that. It was really good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's really a lot of these urban legends. They lend themselves really well to found footage, and
that was the first found footage movie I've done. I just finished another one not too long ago that I'm editing right now, and it's pretty much like a haunted house found footage movie.
Awesome.
And I really enjoyed shooting them. I really enjoy making them. It's just you have so much freedom that you don't have on making a traditional film. So I definitely want to keep doing more found footage for sure.
Yeah, we're excited to see more in the future.
Awesome.
But yeah, I can see that there's just so much freedom, because it's just basically you and a camera, a couple of people, and you make something out of nothing. So I mean, what more can be better than that, right?
Right. Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's just point and shoot, and that's it. That's all you got to do. It's really freeing.
So one question that I like to ask, a fun question. It's movie night, right? You're gonna sit down, you're gonna watch a movie, put on whatever it is that you're gonna watch, found footage, whatever. What is your snack setup for movie night?
Well, it used to just be popcorn, but lately I've been trying to be healthier. So I'll do like Greek yogurt with like some granola in it. That's usually my thing now at night. And just because of late night snacking, it'll get you.
Yes.
So I've been trying to switch to that. Before that, it was just it was popcorn, the usual stuff. And then if it was on the weekend, I'd have some sort of dessert is my weekend. I get the dessert. So whatever that would be, but yeah, not too exciting.
Oh, it's still good. I mean, my go-to all the time is popcorn and a dill pickle. There's just something synonymous with movies and popcorn because it's been that way at the cinemas for
Yes.
I don't know how till the beginning of time when movies were movies, but I just always have found that growing up, I was in the generation where we could still go to Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and rent a movie when I was a kid. So that was a thing for me and my dad. We'd pick up some popcorn, maybe even pizza night. We'd make a weekend out of it and grab some movies. So popcorn has always been a thing for me when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
And popcorn and a pickle, to me, it just sounds like such a Texas thing. It's just
that's interesting.
It probably is because it is so common here, man, to just go into the movies and everybody's ordering popcorn and pickles, whether it's sour dill or they even do the Mexican spin where they you have those colored pickles where they're red or blue because they've infused it with that with the Mexican candy that they use, the chamoy or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big thing here for sure.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and in the UK, for us, it's sweet and salty is the combo for movie theater popcorn. Here it's butter everywhere, in like the US and stuff, it's butter. But in the UK, it's either sweet, salty, or mix. It's no like butter, and it's good.
Yeah, that sounds so kind of like a kettle corn kind of.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to describe it. Is kind of like kettle corn.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can do the pickle, but I could do that. The sweet and salty.
Yeah, and I'm just naturally a pickle lover, so I mean, it's
okay.
I just snack on them to snack on them. So I'm just one of those weirdos that likes pickles.
There you go.
Yeah, everyone either loves them or hates them.
Right.
Just like Char Man, they love them or hate them.
Char Man and pickles. What do they have in common?
Right.
And one thing I also wanted to talk to you about as well is, and I saw the trailer recently, was your upcoming movie Before Never, which is a reimagining of Peter Pan, which is interesting. I love the trailer, and I was hoping you could talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was looking for a project to do with a really good friend of mine named Dan. And he was looking to fund a movie, and we knocked around a couple ideas, and then I came across the story of that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was in the works at the time. It hadn't come out yet, but then they were mentioning how Winnie the Pooh had entered the public domain, except they couldn't use Tigger at the time because Tigger wasn't in the public domain yet. And so I started looking up characters that were coming into public domain, and Peter Pan's story was right there. It was literally only maybe a couple months away from them being in public domain at the time. And so we just, talking it through with guys I've worked with several times, really good friends of mine, Derek and Kenny, and then Derek introduced to this other producer named Liam who came on. He plays Michael in the film. And we wanted to stay as true to the original book as we could. Obviously, we can't use any of the Disney stuff and any of that stuff that they did. So we really spent a lot of time pulling elements out of the book that we wanted to go into the script. And so they would send me different ideas and stuff as I was writing the script. And I wanted to first, yes, we were making a Peter Pan and Hook movie, but I wanted to make a thriller first, a psychological thriller. So, the story is, it really is a total reimagining. This is before they go to Neverland, except they're all adults. There's no kids. Kenny is a perfect Peter Pan because even though he's 40 years old, he looks very young. He looks like he's 22. He has this very childlike quality in playing the character. And so, the story is Peter was going over to the Darling's house to give Wendy a necklace for her helping out at this place that he runs called the Tree House, and it's a halfway house. And So he was going over to the house that night to give her something. She gets attacked. He takes a hit on the head and can't remember any of the details about the attack. And so the family hires Smee, a private detective, to try to find out who the attacker was. And so Smee goes to James, and who is a hypnotherapist, to try to get these memories unlocked from Peter. And then a lot of stuff starts happening after that. And then slowly Peter and Hook become rivals. And, and then at they end up going to go towards Neverland at the end, but they don't actually get to Neverland. But it's set in a small town. We shot the whole thing in Cape Cod. Really, really happy with it. It's out to distributors right now, and so hopefully we'll have some release date news soon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm excited for that.
It's
really
a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a nice slow burn thriller. Yeah.
That's exactly what came across in the trailer. I was like, this is gonna be like a really kind of dark thriller, slow burn.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's some of the best types of movies I really enjoy as well. A lot of mine are found footage or extreme body horror or crazy slasher stuff, but you can't beat a slow burn psychological thriller.
Truly, yeah, and you're right. There's not a lot of slow burn found footage movies, and if they're slow, it's just because they're boring. But the slow burn, like I think Lake Mungo probably is a good slow burn. That's a great one. But anyway, yeah, those are my favorites. A good slow burn psychological thriller.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the trailer looked great. It was almost perfect timing, and also belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
That was the other day as well. It seems like two guests that we've had on the show have had birthdays within a week of each other.
Oh, so yeah,
that was pretty cool. We're talking to Mario, who made Human Hibachi, which is another movie that's on Found TV, which of course is where you can find Char Man, and along with a whole host of other found footage movies.
Found TV is awesome. Yeah, they're doing great work over there. Yeah, I chat with them. We get on and talk about once a month. We have a filmmaker chat that we get on and talk to them, and they give us updates and what they're working on and new opportunities, and really good people.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, that's every time we speak to anyone about Found TV. Everyone's just got such great things to say, and it really is such a refreshing thing for the film industry, for found footage specifically, because before that you really didn't have anything other than Tubi or POV or whatnot. So it's great.
Yeah,
and the
really, really glad that they, because you're right, there wasn't really a place where you could go to find, just found footage. You'd have to seek them out on Tubi or whatever, but which Tubi's been very good to us as well. But sometimes it's hard to find some things on there.
Yeah, they're a little bit harder to sift through, but Found TV has been very good about being specifically found footage and just putting that out there, and us as big fans of the genre, it's really a nice thing to have around.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And anytime I go on there, I'll scroll through the categories, and every single time I pass horror, comedy, there's 3 entries, and the first one that pops up is Char Man. So every single time I'm on there, I see it. So.
There was a time where you could type in found footage, and it was the first one that popped up.
Wow.
I don't believe it is anymore, but there was a time where it would be the first one that popped up. Yeah. Yeah, it's you never know. First of all, you never know when you make a film what's going to catch, what's going to take off. Ones that you think are going to do really well take a really long time to start taking off. Others that you are crossing your fingers that somebody's going to watch it will suddenly explode and take off. And this one did, and there were 2 kinds of people. Either they loved it or they absolutely hated it. There's no in between. And so we got plenty of hate and plenty of love back and forth when it came out. And I think it went up to, on IMDb, I think it was top 1,800 it was like 1,800 movies at one point, like, which is significant considering how many are on there. But yeah, we've been really, really blessed with how it's done.
That's great. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, that's awesome. Thank you, Kipp, so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, it was our pleasure. And with your upcoming found footage movie, we're also more than happy to have you on again to talk about it and promote
Absolutely.
it.
Awesome. Absolutely. I hope to have it probably finished up sometime in the summer, and then we'll get some distribution, and then I'll circle back around. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Excited about it.
Love that. And where can people find you on social media? Is there anywhere you want people to?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and X, I guess it is now. You just search my name, Kipp Tribble, and that's what it's under. I'm on some of the others, but those are the three mainly I use. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's listening, definitely check out Before Never when it comes out, and follow on social media as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you again for taking the time. And,
Appreciate it, guys.
All the best.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for tuning in on this episode of We Found a Tape. Be sure to follow us on our Instagram at We Found a Tape, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and we're also on YouTube, all at We Found a Tape.
And don't forget, everybody, be kind and rewind.